Hey everybody, welcome back. First and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there across the country and across the world. I know that you guys are absolutely awesome because my mom is amazing, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the support and love that my mom gave me. So Mom, if you're seeing this, happy Mother's Day. I love you. I can't wait to get back to see you at some point. And also to Amanda's mom, my mother-in-law, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for giving me the best gift in the world, which is your amazing daughter, who has been my partner in crime, so to speak, for almost 9 years now. But so let's move on to what we're going to talk about this week. Today we're going to talk about some things things that we have bought or built for our RV that we would buy or build again. And this isn't an all-inclusive list. This is just a quick list for all of you guys out there. We wanted to share this with you. And so the way it's going to work, we're going to do outside, and then we're going to do things that we bought. And if we installed them ourselves, we'll tell you how difficult they are. Or if we had them installed, we'll tell you who and where and our thoughts. And then we'll go to the inside with bought and built. Again, some of these will be hybrids because, like, you buy something and then you install it yourself. Where do you classify that? I don't really know. But so we're going to start with the outside and work our way in. And so yeah, let's get started. Number one on our list for outside things that we bought is the RV snap pads. And what these RV snap pads do is they increase the surface area of your landing leg feet, and basically it makes it to where you don't have to lug out a piece of lumber or any kind of bought version of landing pad for those landing legs to push down on, which prevents them from sinking down into the ground, which pretty nice. When you're on the go a lot, it's a very handy accessory to have because you don't have to think about it. You just plop them straight down. We put them down in wet soil, sandy soil, pretty much every type of anything you could imagine putting them down in. Only a few times have we actually had to use a piece of wood, and that was just after torrential amounts of rain. We didn't want them to submerge down into the mud, and we didn't want to damage the park, and we also didn't want to take any risk with our RV as well. But we did install these ourselves. The premise behind it is you hook your rig up to your truck, pull all the landing legs up, and then you break out the snap pads. They come in a box. It's a heavy box, I do know that much. But you break out these snap pads, you coat the rim in dishwashing detergent, Dawn dish soap, and then basically snap them on. And once they snap on, they stay on. We've put close to 30,000 miles on our rig since we've had these snap pads, and we love them. Some pro tips: if you are putting these on an older rig, I would suggest sanding down your landing feet a little bit and maybe spraying them with some rust-proof spray paint, that just to prevent any further corrosion that may or may not occur. I had a friend who had one, and where they had lived was near the ocean, and so their landing feet that came with their rig were a little rusty, and so the snap pads didn't fit on super great. Ended up having to sand them down. Hindsight being 2020, we should have sanded them and spray painted them. So if you're putting these on an older rig that's seen a few seasons out there, highly encouraged to take a little bit of extra time to do that as well. But all in all, well worth the investment. You go to the RV Snap Pad website. They do have flash sales, and they also do Black Friday sales. So something to consider, maybe a good Christmas gift, or if you're hitting the road this summer, it's definitely something I would suggest investing in, whether you're full-time like us or you're a weekend warrior just out there having a good time on vacation. Number two on outside things that we bought is we bought this is actually kind of a hybrid. We bought two things. We bought water quick disconnects, and we bought 90-degree elbows with a shutoff valve for where our input into our rig is. And The video will show you a little bit better, but basically instead of relying on a hose going straight into that plastic connection that is with most RVs, we put a 90 degrees so that the hose can hang straight down. We're not stressing out the plastic and the PEX piping so much. We can shut the water off right there, which is very handy. And we have quick disconnect, so we're not sitting there doing the unscrew or screw hassle that it can be. It makes for a quick and easy fast hookup or disconnect, especially if you're on the road a whole bunch. Total cost for these, I think we bought a pack of 6 or 12 disconnects for both ends. Relatively cost effectively on Amazon. I think it was under 30 bucks for sure. And then the two 90 degree elbows, I think were like 12 bucks each. I had a particular brand that I wanted to buy. There are much more cost effective ones out there. However you wish to do your to set it up for your rig, but again, these are one of those things where I'm very happy with, that I'm very happy that we have, especially like when it comes to whenever you're dumping your black tank or your gray tank and you want to flush the black tank out. Just quick pop it in with our what we call our potty water hose. Pop that hose on to where the flush is, pop it off when we're done. We don't really have to worry about anything on that. So, well worth the investment. Number 3 on our list is the Valterra valves. So, everybody's had to deal with the septic system on their rig at some point, and they've gone to hook up and they take off that little cover and they get greeted with, we'll call it sludge. They get greeted with some kind of residue from their septic system from driving down the road. What a Valterra valve does is basically it puts a last gate right at the end of your septic system. So if you think of this as the output, there's a gate that comes right in and shuts right there. And so that way when you go to tear down or set up, that gate is shut. You're not messing with a whole lot of septic stuff, black water basically, and makes for a quick and easy cleanup as you go. There are 2 versions. There's some that you can glue on, and there's some that just lock in with the existing hose connections. We use the lock in with the hose connections. That way if it ever fails or goes bad, just pop it off, pop a new one back on. But you can find Valterra valves at any big box camping store. Online, of course, $12 to $15 I believe is the current price range. But highly suggest, well worth the investment. Makes cleaning up and setting up a breeze. Number 4 on our list is going to be the Gen Y Executive Gooseneck hitch. Basically what it does is it replaces your 5th wheel pin box with a gooseneck pin box that fits straight in, and then you can use just a ball in the back of your truck versus using one of the 5th wheel hitches. We really like it. It does have a torsion flex system. Basically it has an integrated suspension system in the actual gooseneck itself, which helps reduce some of the impact from truck to rig. It helps reduce that jerkiness and really helps smooth out the ride. A couple of things that I like about it and a couple of things that I didn't think about when I actually installed it. One, I really like that I don't have to have a big 5th wheel hitch. I know that hitches have gotten lighter over the years, but they're still heavy. And so in this case, if I was ever gone or on a business trip or anything and Amanda needed to put the hitch in the back of the truck with a traditional 5th wheel hitch, she wouldn't be able to do that. With this, she literally picks up a gooseneck ball and just drops it in, flips the lever over, and it's locked in, and she can back in and hook up the rig and roll out if she had to. Now, there are some cons that I didn't think about, because I replaced our pin box as a result of my hip surgery. I didn't want to have to be picking up a hitch all the time and take the chance of re-injuring myself. But I do still have to now climb in and use chains and hook in my gooseneck in with chains. So there are pros and cons. I do like the system and I would buy it again. Now, installation. This is a tough installation. You can theoretically do it with one person. I did. However, it is a much easier evolution if you did it with 3 people. And from start to finish, if you have the right tools, because you do need some really big sockets and probably a really big breaker bar, and you will need to be able to torque it to a pretty heavy foot-pounds amount. So please be ready for all of that. This is one of those things that if you're unsure about, or you think that this might be kind of a big event for you, just go ahead and pay to have it installed professionally. It's worth the amount of time that you'll save versus doing it on your own. I think when I purchased it, it was in the $1,300-ish range. I called Gen Y directly, talked to them, and they custom built one exactly to the specs that I needed. They are a great company. They were very, very friendly over the phone. So if you have any questions, give them a call. Literally, like, called them. They got me to a specialist. They asked about the rig. They asked about what I tow, what kind of travel I do, where it goes. And they said, this is the one you want. It has an auto latch system. It's great. Would buy again 100%. Would I install it again? Probably not. That was a heck of an event. I even tried to record that, but it was such an interesting evolution that I couldn't even put it out there because it was a challenge. But would absolutely install it again just for the fact that I don't have to deal with the fifth wheel hitch. Okay, so number 5 on this list is kind of the big one. It's the most expensive upgrade that we did, but it's also my favorite upgrade, and that is the independent suspension. Specifically, we got the MORRYDE independent suspension with disc brake upgrade with 8K axles. What does that mean for us? What it means for us is that as we travel down the road, basically due to the fact that we have independent suspension now, there is less energy being transferred up into the rigs. Because you know they say every time you tow your rig anywhere, it's like taking it through an earthquake. Well, basically this makes the earthquake not as bad. It does not eliminate that. I want to make that very clear. But it does make it noticeably less. It is an amazing upgrade. I love the ability that I can stop better, that I don't have to worry about my drum brakes overheating. Absolutely worth it. Now, when I went up to MORRYDE, I towed up there. There's a video on our page for that. But it is a 3-day evolution. You can stay in your rig when you go. However, if you're thinking about doing this, go ahead and call them, jump on their wait list. It is a pricey upgrade. I'm pretty sure it's in the $12,000 to $13,000 range now. And they do have a very big wait list. When I originally called, they said, hey, we have a 2-year wait list. So highly encourage it. If you're a weekend warrior type, depending on what your weekends look like, so if you're one of those people that's like, hey, I'm gonna tow to the local lake, to the local park, this upgrade may not be the one for you. If you're that person that says, hey, I live in South Florida, I'm towing to Glacier Park, yes, this might be a worthwhile adventure. Or if you're like, hey, I'm gonna go do the Alaskan Highway, absolutely, sure, why not? You should probably think about what kind of beating your rig is going to take over the life of your rig. So I absolutely love this upgrade. Would do it again in a heartbeat and plan on doing it. If we ever change rigs, we'll absolutely do it again on my next rig. Number 6 on our list is the TORKLIFT Glow Steps. And if you go to the website, it says TORKLIFT Glow Step Evolution. We originally had the MORRYDE basically sturdy stairs is what I would call them, but the MORRYDE stairs, they are incredibly sturdy. We didn't really have any complaints about them. We just needed to change because of how our lifestyle is and how we travel. Generally when we travel, we have really hard travel days, and we don't really worry about staying at a campground. We'll stay at a basically like a rest area. And sometimes when you stay at rest areas, you have to park amongst the 18-wheelers. We avoid truck stops because those are for trucks in our opinion, but when you're at rest areas, sometimes the truckers, when they pull in, they're closer to you or not as close to you. We did have a scary incident with our MORRYDE steps where we almost couldn't shut them because they swing, as long as they are, is how they swing up and out of your door. And we had a really close call where we could barely get the steps in, and we just wanted to have a little bit more flexibility. And so what the TORKLIFT steps do is, it's basically an accordion style step. It's very, very sturdy. Like, I'm a big guy. At my biggest, I was 250 pounds. I could walk up this carrying all the groceries and the dog food. Guys, you know what I'm saying when I talk about bringing it all in one trip. And these steps are incredibly sturdy. One of the beautiful things about these steps is that you can pull them, basically, you can, if your door can open, you can pull them straight down and make it like a step ladder and walk straight up. So if you put your rig in storage, you don't have to pull your rig out, because I know storage is sometimes really tight for RVs. If you can open your door and you can get your steps out, you can step up into your rig 100% of the time, which I really, really like. And I like the fact that they have flexibility. We do have the ability to add an extra step. It basically is another step. You pull a lever over, the step pulls out a little bit more. Absolutely love these things. Would buy them again. We installed them ourselves. The installation of the TORKLIFT steps was not hard. What I failed to do, and please don't repeat my mistake, what I failed to do is I failed to look on how to remove the MORRYDE steps, and I just started taking things apart, and I shouldn't have, because it was way simpler than I made it. But they do have two versions. They have the kind that fold up into the doorway, just like what you guys are all used to, and then they have some like for our back door, for the back of our rig, that tuck up in that ladder tray, or the stairwell tray that's underneath the secondary door. But great investment. Highly recommend them. Number 7 on our list is going to be the RV lock. And what we did is we replaced our factory lock on our door with an RV lock. And what that gave us was the ability to have a key code for our RV. Basically meaning we didn't have to worry about keeping track of our our two little RV keys. We can just, you know, lock and unlock it straight on the door. Now, RV lock is an expensive upgrade based off for what you're buying. It seems like it's pricey, but however, the satisfaction and the safety of knowing, hey, I can leave my keys wherever you leave them, still lock and unlock my rig as long as I keep the batteries changed out on them, is amazing. Now, RV lock does require some measuring. You need to make sure you're ordering it for the right way that your door swings, whether it swings left or right. You also have to know what the thickness of your door is when you order. If you ever have any doubts, you can call them and talk to them, and they'll talk you through it. One of the beautiful things about it is all of our RVs come generally keyed to the same key, meaning like my one key that I got from the factory opens up that door, all of my basement doors, any accessory, anywhere there's a lock on the outside of the RV, it's all keyed to that same lock. Well, RV lock allows you to do the same thing. If you buy them, you can call and tell them, hey, I need it coded to the original, to this key code, and they can make them for you and send them to you. Now, RV lock does do flash sales, so you can either join their mailing list or you can just check out their website periodically. They do huge Black Friday sales as well. And but I would suggest that you do your research and do your measuring for this, and double check your measurements, because it would stink to buy something and then it not totally fit. But well worth the upgrade in my opinion. The installation, we bought it and installed it ourselves, was seamless. It was very, very quick, very, very easy. No major adjustments, nothing. I think it was like 4 bolts. Anybody could do it, and if you have just a basic tool set, it's very easy to do. Number 8 on our list is an interesting one. It probably doesn't seem like a huge upgrade, but it actually had a big impact. So the handle by our door, by our front door, so to speak, of our rig, we replaced it with one that was a little bit elongated so that you could get your hands on it a little bit earlier while walking up and down the steps, so that you can have another point of contact, a little bit more stability. And then yeah, we really like it. The only gripe, and I will be honest, is that with that combined with the RV lock upgrade that I just talked about, is that it doesn't always sit totally flush when it's folded up for travel. However, it has never flown open in all of our travels and all of our journeys. I was a little worried that we were gonna have to swap it back out, but we didn't. This one I know for a fact was 4 bolts. It was quick and easy. totally worth the, I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks online to upgrade it. So quick and easy win, especially if you have people that need a little bit more stability as they go up and down the steps, depending on what kind of steps you have. But if they need that extra point of contact, this is a good investment for you, for your family, for your children, for whomever. Worth the upgrade in my opinion. Number 9 on things that we have bought for the outside of our rig. This one's sort of like an outside-inside combo. Is for what we call our basement, for our storage area, was the MORRYDE sliding tray. And I will never buy a rig again without having these sliding trays installed prior to taking it off of a dealer lot. I used to say, oh, I'll just pull all the stuff I need out, put it all back in. That becomes very annoying after a while. I'll be honest, it was frustrating at times, because the tool that you always need to find, ladies and gentlemen, help me out. You know what I'm talking about. The tool you always need is in the center, or in that one location where you have to pull like what seems like every box out of the basement of your RV and put it back in. The sliding tray eliminates that. It allows me to basically open up my basement door, slide the tray out, grab the toolbox or the storage bin that I need, slide the tray back in, and don't worry about it. I had this installed when I had my independent suspension installed up in Indiana with MORRYDE. They did an amazing job. As far as difficulty, based off what I could see when he installed it, he basically set it in, measured it to make sure it would slide out around the lip for both doors, because it does slide both ways for our basement, because our basement's a pass-through, and then screwed it in. So it doesn't seem like it's a terribly challenging install. So if you ordered it and wanted to install it yourself, 100% confident that this one would be pretty straightforward. Highly recommend. Won't ever have an RV again without some version of a sliding tray. Number 10 is an interesting one, considering that we are based out of Texas for right now. We got custom RV skirting, and that is both a statement and a name. So the name of the company is Custom RV Skirting. They're out of South Dakota, and we swung by them on our big 2021 summer trip, and we had custom skirting designed and rails installed for our rig while we were exploring the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore, and the Badlands. And it's a pretty straightforward process. I went with the skirting that had the rails. I've seen the ones where you have the push buttons and you can install it yourself. I just didn't like the look of it. That's my personal preference. But we went with the railed install. That way it slides. It has a nice seamless look to it. And yeah, couldn't be happier with it. It's a little pricey, I guess, for RV skirting. I know that you can do it yourself. I've seen online where people use like bales of hay or styrofoam or any of this. What I like about this is that I can take all the pieces off, slide them into place, or roll them up. It comes in its own bag, and I can just throw it in the rig and I'm ready to go if I need to hit the road. Okay, so for the outside, we have 2 things that we have built that I think are worth talking about. One's really a bought-built situation, and that's the BRAKELIGHT install. There's a link to a video somewhere on my channel, or maybe up here, I'm not sure. But here's my thoughts on my BRAKELIGHT install. If I could do it all over again, would I? Yes. Would I use the exact same method for installing brake lights, additional brake lights on the back of my RV? No. I like the look of having my 4 extra sets of lights. What I don't like about it is that I drilled 4 extra holes on each side of the back of my rig that are potential leak spots that does require additional maintenance. And if I could do it all over again, I would just drill 1 hole at the bottom and then run an LED strip up each side of the rig. That way I can still have more visibility from behind me, because as you guys know, where the RV brake lights sit is very, very low. Basically, if somebody's in a car and is right behind you, the car behind them can't see your brake lights. And so having that extra visibility a little bit higher up, and It just makes me feel safe, helps me feel comfortable that if I have to stop suddenly, that I know the car behind me is going to stop perfectly fine, but the 18-wheeler or the RVer or the person that's moving across the country in a big heavy U-Haul will be able to see that I am slowing down, and will be able to make the appropriate safety decision for themselves and for us ultimately. As far as difficulty, not very. If you're comfortable with basic wiring, like if you've ever wired lights to a trailer, it's that simple. It's pretty quick. So I think total cost for that project was in the $100 to $150 range. That included buying the lights, the extra wire, solder, stuff like that. But highly recommend that. Number 2 was JACKPADS. So earlier I mentioned that we have RV snap pads. That helps us when we're on the go. However, if we're staying anywhere longer than just a few days, what we like to do is we like to keep our landing legs a little bit shorter or closer to the RV so that we have a little bit more stability. So if you think about it, if your landing legs are sticking super high up, like, you know, almost like you have giraffe legs for your RV, that's a lot of wiggle room that you can put on that. However, if your landing legs are a little bit shorter and you have some blocks under there, it's a little bit more stable. The house doesn't shake so much. All we simply did is we bought some 6x6s, like I think 1 or 2 6x6s, cut them to, I think we cut them to 16 inches long, and basically I found the biggest screws that I could find, and you ran a screw through them twice. I put 2 screws in on each side, threw a handle on, like a simple $2 drawer handle, so that I can just grab them and go. I'm very, very happy with that. I like the idea of keeping my landing leg short, putting less stress and less movement on that system. So number 1 on the inside for things that we bought is the first thing that we should have done. We didn't. It's actually the most recent one that we did. Is we replaced all of the handles inside of our RV. And when I say the handles, I mean like the drawer pulls, the cabinet pulls, all of that. The handles that come with our rig are squared off, so they do have a sharp edge to them. And when you live in a confined space, or you're traveling in a confined space, if somebody doesn't shut the drawer totally, you catch your leg, you'll tear your pants, or you'll stab yourself to a sense with it. We ended up going with curved handles. We found 2 packs of 25 for like 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon that matches the rest of the decorum in our house. Quick and easy replacement. Number 2, we replaced our couch. There wasn't anything wrong with our original couch that came with our rig. However, we did want some more space because we do have large dogs, and we do let our dogs, they are a part of our family. They're not a pet, they are family. And so they get up and they cuddle with us when we're watching movies or we're just hanging out in the middle of a rainstorm. And so we needed a little bit of extra space. Some tips for replacing a couch. We went with a residential couch. We did do a lot of measuring. We measured again and again and again. This couch is about this much longer than the factory couch that we had. And what we did is we put a piece of painter's tape on the carpet down there for a week to see if we liked the idea of losing that space, meaning we wouldn't put anything there, we wouldn't go in that area, we pretended that there was a couch there. Some other pro tips, something to consider when you measure, is you're not just measuring for if it will fit, because inevitably in most RVs nowadays, yes, it will fit. The challenge is, can you get it through the door? So for us, we have a toy hauler. Our whole back, or the whole back end of our rig basically opens up, and so if we can fit it through the door from our garage space to here, we can get it all the way to the front of our RV. People that don't have toy haulers, that may be a little bit of a challenge, because 9 times out of 10 when you walk in, there's some form of a wall that you run into that separates, or that is a room or a cabinet or a coat hanging area, something. But please plan on how you're going to get it into your RV. The next thing that we bought is sort of combined with something that we built. So we floored the garage space, and we'll talk about that in a sec under the built section, but we bought a biker bar. And what the biker bar does for me or for my wife and I, well, let me rephrase, since we just ride a motorcycle, because the name brand doesn't matter, we ride a motorcycle, it allows us to clip a bar to the frame of the bike, just drive up and lock the bike into place. And we don't have to worry about ratchet straps or tie downs or anything. We don't have to worry about it moving. We've used it a few times and we're very, very satisfied with it. A bunch of people on some of the Facebook groups that we're a part of use the biker bar, love and live by it. As far as installation, this one is challenging because you're working through the underpinning of the rig to drill holes. And so if you don't feel comfortable making some pretty heavy modifications, I would suggest getting it installed, because if you mismeasure or you don't find the right placement, and you can watch our video, you'll see what we're talking about with that. You may have to drop your fuel tank down or drop the underpinning down and drop the fuel tank down, and just a lot of work that you may not want to take on, even though the installation itself is pretty easy. Number 4 on our list is another recent addition. Is we bought a DOMETIC 320 elongated deep bowl toilet bowl. This is one of those upgrades that I wish I had done sooner. As far as the challenge of this, it is not challenging at all. It is very, very quick. Under 30 minutes you can have a new toilet into your rig, as long as the PEX connection will still fit where it needs to go. If not, you can see what we did in our video to mitigate that. Highly worth it. Number 5 is an inside-outside. We finally, after being on the wait list for many years, got our STARLINK internet delivered, and we've been using it now for over a month with amazing results. Been running well over 100 megabytes downloads. For those that full-time in an RV, you know the pain and struggle that is trying to get internet connectivity. So for the last 2.5 years, we've been running at a whopping speed of 15 megabytes download. Now, STARLINK just recently introduced a roaming option for additional $25 a month. I know there's a lot of people talking about it. We have it enabled. I'll let you know how it goes, but we've gone to a couple of different locations that had it and had internet everywhere we've gone so far, so we're pretty happy with it. But as far as the mounting solutions, there's many creative ways. If you are looking for a way to mount it, I would suggest, if you look up on like Facebook STARLINK for RV groups. There's a big one, and there's some amazing people with some creative designs. I'm not going to even claim credit. How we have it currently mounted is a result of somebody's post on there. Okay, so let's move on to things that we have built. And my number 1 modification, it's also ironically the most popular video that I have, that we have, should I say, is the air conditioning modification. And basically what you do is you build a box out of styrofoam that you, like project foam you buy at a local big box store, and you block off the dump portion of your AC. So basically the vents right underneath where your air conditioning unit is, you block that off, and it forces the air to fully go through your ducting system. And it also makes it noticeably quieter, and it cools more evenly throughout the rig. It is currently almost 95 degrees outside, and you notice that I only have my garage AC running right now, and I am very, very comfortable. Number 2 on things that we built is we refloored the garage space of our toy hauler. And what we did is, so our rig comes out, our garage floor comes out, and then it has a little angle right like that, sorta. So when the bike drives up and in, we basically built an extension out and squared it off, and we used luxury finish vinyl so that we could have this beautiful hardwood floor look in our garage space. We combined that with the biker bar install because we did get rid of all of our tie-down locations when we did that, which is why we bought the biker bar. Love this mod. It makes sweeping up, especially when you have a German Shepherd that has very, very long hair and feels like they should be bald by the amount of hair that they shed. Total cost about 600 bucks, I think, is what we ended up spending on it, and you can find that video on our channel as well. Number 4 was a removal, more of a mod. We removed the 3 sliding glass doors to our shower, to our bathroom shower area. And what it is we found that we were getting, there was basically a gap in the caulking for that, which was causing for mold to have a place to live. And so we ended up, it's one of those like horror stories that the more you look, the more you find, and the more you find, the more you gotta fix. And so we ended up just getting rid of the entire shower door setup, and we ended up putting in a curved shower rod for our shower area. Would do it again in a heartbeat. I love how classy the glass doors were. So Grand Design, if you're seeing this, I'm not knocking your design because it's awesome, but I do like the curved shower rod and having the extra spaces. I am clearly a pretty big guy. I would run into that door. My biggest fear is that I was going to send glass shattering out if I slipped or something while I was taking a shower. But quick and easy. The hardest part is just caulk, like once you remove everything, scraping all the caulk off, filling and plugging those holes, and then you're back in business with the shower as far as I'm concerned. Number 5 for things that we built are shelves. And we've built shelves so far in a couple different locations, and we have plans to build more shelves as we go. Starting with the bathroom. So we originally had like a little carousel tray stackable thing where we would put on the countertop, where we would put toothpaste, toothbrushes, hairbrushes for those that have hair. Sorry, I gotta be honest about myself. And we'd always have to move it somewhere when we travel, which was kind of frustrating because you're like, oh, where do I put all this stuff? And it accumulates, like things accumulate as you live in a rig, right? And so we ended up installing some shelves just to the right of our mirror. And the video is going to show you a lot more, but basically one 6-foot piece of board, cut and ripped the way we needed to, measured, slid it into place, screwed it into place. We didn't really record any of it because it's such a basic install. In hindsight, I should have, but now we have some amazing shelves in our bathroom, and we love them. Once again, one of those things you wish you had done sooner. I wish I had done that sooner. It's nice having the countertop space back in the bathroom. The other place that we put shelves is we put shelves in one of our storage cabinets in the main bedroom. Lots of people are doing this. I'm not going to say that's anything unique that we have done. I would suggest if you're thinking about doing it, go ahead and do it. However you put those shelves in is up to you. For us, it was a pretty straightforward process. We basically built shelves where it could divide. That way we didn't have a tower of clothes 2.5 feet tall. Highly suggest it. Number 6 for things that we have built is, again, a part of a removal. We removed our back couches, the fold-up couches underneath our bed that is on the Happy Jack system back there. We just didn't use them in the first 1.5 years of living in our rig. We didn't see a need when we would use them, and so we got rid of them. And what we did is we left the arms on the Happy Jack system for one of those couches, and we built a custom table for our needs. And at the time we were at the height of COVID, we were both in a teleworking status, as many of you were. And so yeah, that table has become an awesome working space for us. If you want to see how we built it, if I would do it all over again, I would have used something a little bit lighter. But there are many videos on there on how to convert your garage space for your toy hauler into an office setup. Number 7 is pantry shelves. And so in our pantry area, we always had to find places for spices. And spices are very frustrating at times because you think you found what was ground cinnamon, and it turns out it was red cayenne pepper, or the horror story unfolds, right? So what we ended up doing is we installed mounted racks on the inside of the pantry door, and would absolutely do it again. There are many versions out there on Amazon. The ones that we used were great. However, if you have a Grand Design, or if you have a pantry door like we do that has glass that's inset into the door, you want your pantries to be about 1 inch to 2 inches wider than the glass itself, because where we screwed in, we actually started running into glass, and we ended up just cutting the screws short and securing them in that way before we hit the glass. However, hindsight again being 2020, just find a wider pantry shelf than we did. However, we've put 15,000 miles on them since we installed them, and they're doing great. Okay, so to round up, that was things that we have bought or built for both inside and outside of our RV that we use, love, would buy again. Highly suggest some version of it. Once again, I am not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to make you think that this is the best product out there. I am simply telling you what we have bought and what has worked for us. And so I highly encourage you to do your research. You know what you need for your rig and your life. Anyway, happy Mother's Day again to all the moms out there. Bless all of you, and we hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Help us grow. We're trying to just share the world and our viewpoint on it and how much we love it. So thank you again. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, thank you for supporting us, and you guys rock. We'll see you next time.